Hey up, welcome back to part number 2 of my Minibase SU-33 build. So last time we did the cockpit tub, this time we're going to switch gears and we're going to do the landing gear and the bays. So let's go ahead and get started. What's up guys? So as I mentioned, we're going to do the nose landing gear bay, the main landing gear bay and the landing gear itself. So we can jump around the structures a little bit. Last time we did part number 3, which is the cockpit tub. 1 and 2 are opposite seat, which we're going to save for a treat for later. So part number 4 is the nose landing gear bay. I'm going to show you guys the instructions a little bit closer up. So we're going to do, which is very detailed. So we're going to do the gear bay, the nose gear bay, the nose landing gear, and then we're part number 4 and 5, and then we're going to switch up and move across this, jump through the instructions a little bit here to number 11. I think number 9, which is the main landing gear left. Number 10 is main landing gear right, and then section 11 is the main landing gear bays. So yeah, so we're going to take care of those parts today. So we're going to take out parts of 4, 5, and then 9, 10. And 11, which is 3 pages, this quite big instruction book. So we're obviously going to do the gear bays now so we can get them into the fuselage, so we sandwich it together. While we're at it, we're obviously do the gear. We're not going to attach the gear unless we have to, which I don't think we do. So the gear will be separate, and we'll obviously paint that separately and add it at the very end. If we add it now, it'll just get snapped off and that kind of stuff. So it's all about building sub-assemblies on these kits and then bringing it together at the end. I try to leave as much off as possible. So things like the stabilizers, the wings, weapons, pylons, all that kind of stuff. I try to like build, paint, weather separately, and at the very end kind of bring it all together. It makes it a little bit easier with the build instruction for me. So that's the way we can follow it on this one. So again, number 4, which is nose landing gear bay. So let me switch the camera down and we kind of talk through and look at the what we got going ahead of us.
All right, so part number 4. So off the bat, one positives about this kit. I feel like I'm moaning, but I'm not. It's a little bit over engineered, but it is a great kit thus far. So part number 4, the nose landing gear bay. Now the positives is nice, but it keeps you on the same kind of sprues. There's a lot of plastic, and you're not like kind of going backwards and forwards, which I hate on kits, where you kind of go from sprue B to C to E to F. It pretty much keeps you in the same kind of ballpark. So this page right here is pretty much all going to be E, this big sprue right here, and K, these little tiny parts. So it's kind of cool, it keeps them close together. Some more photo etch in there as well. As I mentioned last part, it does give you color callouts in these black boxes for every single little thing. So it does look very kind of busy, but when you take those black kind of color callouts out and actually look at the parts, it's not quite so bad. But nevertheless, for example, this piece here with these 5 little bits that go on there, that could be quite easily molded onto one. So just obviously increasing the part count here. When you see this bit here, K52, this big, told you, 1, 2, 3 different colors going on there and how to paint it all on this one little part. Well, guess what? K52, let me show you how big the part is. It's that little tiny part right there. So the actual picture itself is about 50 times bigger than the actual real piece, which is kind of funny. But so what we're doing basically is building nose landing gear bay, and then that'll get put into the fuselage underneath the cockpit tub. So here's the main kind of part. Again, it is beautifully detailed. I just stuck the end onto the main piece and the little door on the side here. Again, it's beautifully detailed, goes together nicely thus far. So I kind of did this bit right here. So what I need to do basically is cut out these pieces, so the side parts of the gear bay, I'm going to cut out and then start assembling them, and then basically they'll get fit into here, and then we'll put the end on. A little bit of photo etch and stuff to go on too. So this here is actually the gear, so if I put my hand over this, we're actually just doing this bit right now, is what we're going to work on. So what I'm going to do is same as the cockpit tub. I'm not going to individually paint all these things. I'm just going to throw it all together and then paint it at the very end, hand paint it and that kind of stuff. Stars, remember the stars mean decals. So on this bit right here at the end in the nose gear, there's actually 3 decals to go on there, which we'll see. If they're kind of microscopic, I'm not even going to bother putting them on. It's going to be underneath the aircraft, wheels, bay. I'm not sure if you're going to see it. We'll see. I think for me, I'm really going to pick and choose what I do here, especially the photo etch. Anything super tiny, you're not really going to see. Same as if you buy an Edward like set of etch. I don't think you necessarily have to do every single piece. Let me kind of show you what I've got going on here. Like, I don't think you need every single one of these pieces, but you kind of pick and choose what kind of works for you, I guess. So let me go ahead and start cutting out and assembling these sides, and then we'll come back and kind of put this whole thing together. All right, so just checking back in. So this side here, the left side, I built not too bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces plus the sticking onto this guy. Yeah, it's one thing I say is the plastic is really nice. No, obviously zero flash, 0 ejection pins thus far. So fingers crossed, we'll keep that going. So it's going together really good. Just super tiny, and just, you know, some of these parts, like this one here, is 2 parts. I don't know why they made it 2, even anything. This whole thing could be more than 1, but anyway. So there's color callouts of different colors for different parts, and these things are microscopic, like less than a grain of rice. So I think it's a little wasted in 48 scale, to be honest with you. I'm going to probably just throw a wash on this and call it a day when I get to it. I mean, you're not going to see a lot of this unless you have a microscope, to be honest with you, so especially these tiny decals and stuff. It would be awesome if this was like this kind of level of detail on like a 32nd or even like an 18th scale kit. Like, I know there's a few, like the Harry 18th scale is a very bland kit, but if you had this kind of level of detail, you would definitely see it a lot better than you would in 48 scale. So going together really good. So that's that side done. I'm just going to take my, before I lose it or drop it or whatever, oh, piece dropped off already, so I'm going to make sure I glue that back on. But I'm just going to glue it into the main kind of assembly right here. So I tried it already, it fits really nicely. So, oh, saying that it won't because I'm on camera. And there you go, so that side's in. I mean, it does look the part, doesn't it? So let me go ahead and work on the other side. I don't make this video 16,000 hours long, so I'm going to go ahead and build it off camera, and then we'll come back when it's all together and I'll show you kind of how we look. Right, so we're done with the top 2 parts kind of here of this section 4 right here. One thing in this instructions, basically each page is a number. They're not really broken down much, but I'd say, yeah, so it's a lot more steps than it looks. But I've basically done the first 2 kind of steps on the page, which is the nose landing gear bay. Gotta say, this is the most detailed landing gear bay I've ever built on any kind of scale or any kind of kit. It is certainly up there in detail. You see, hopefully you can see some of that on there. Went to go no problem at all. The other thing to note is on the right side here, there's a bracket go on, and you got like a wiring loom. The wiring loom's got to go feed it through before you glue it together. So feed the wiring loom through. So we're looking at instructions here. This E39, and then you have this K51 wiring loom. You got to feed that wiring loom through the gap in here, so it all kind of fits on together. It makes sense. So the wiring loom kind of, you see, wiring loom goes along the back, and then this sits kind of feeds through it basically. But again, yeah, you see the detail on there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to bring in the big boy and the underside of the aircraft. So we can glue this in. Like I said, we're going to paint this all later. So it goes in, I believe, this way, and again, a perfect fit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some glue. I'm going to use the semi-cement rather than the extra thin. Anything more than, you know, I don't know, maybe a centimeter or so, extra thin dries pretty quickly. So I like to use this cement more and more. I use it more and more for gluing bigger parts. And also kind of a little thick, so it kind of helps fill in gaps and stuff as well. So put this guy in. And you can kind of see on the underside how we're looking. So looking really cool. Getting a really nice fit. Just gonna hold it in place for a little bit. It's a little bit bowed the bottom here, so just kind of make it so it's sticking, no gap. So I'm gonna hold this for a few minutes while it dries. We're then gonna switch over to section 11. Okay, so you can see the nose landing gear bay we've just put in right here. So now we're going to work on the main gear bays. So basically they're just panels we're going to work on, and they go around the inside here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this a few more minutes till it dries and cut these parts out. I'm going to be right back. Right, so use some clothes pegs. Love these guys. Great for clamping stuff down, plastic, to kind of really hold this thing in position. To get the front glued in, very cool. And as you can see, I've done the right side main bay too. So basically what it made is there's 5 panels that go in to make this up with tons of little wires and tiny little pieces. You guys can see it in there. Again, tons of detail and stuff. You got to be careful with these. A lot of these kind of interchange with pipes going into each side and stuff, so you got to really kind of figure out which way you're going to do this and kind of put them in strategically. Maybe starting with the corner one and working your way around so you get the pipes all kind of attached to each one. Oops, that didn't help, but yep, good. So many little parts and kind of worry of dropping this thing, but yep, tons of little parts on this one, as you can see. Some more great detail. Again, looks really good at the front. Really cool. So, a couple of things with this one. So, most of these parts, these panels are on sprue D, and there's 2 sprue Ds, which I thought was a matched pair. They're kind of in a bag like this together, but when you look carefully, they're actually a left and a right, and the numbers are different. So, they're not quite a matched pair as I thought they were. So you got 2 Ds for some reason, with different item numbers on them. So I needed, I think, 26. And I was looking everywhere for here, and I thought it was a typo. So just be mindful that there's 2 Ds with different numbers on. So make sure you use the correct one for left and right. Also, there was a little error in instructions here. I'll point out. The first one I've come across is this piece right here. There's no part number, but it should be D26. So D26 for this guy right here. The second box from the left on the top. Which this guy right here. So D26 again, just showing all the pipes, tons of different colors and stuff. But again, I mean, knock yourself out. That's what you want to do. For me, I'll lose my mojo. So I'm just going to put all this thing together, and we'll come back and do some detailed painting and some washes and stuff afterwards. It's one of those kits where, I mean, you could spend literally a year building this thing and finding detailing everything, or like me, you can just kind of put this thing together and enjoy the build and kind of paint it up at the end, which I'll probably look to do. Also, somebody left a comment on my part 1, which makes great sense. They said it's kind of like building ships, and you know what, it absolutely is. Not that I've ever built a ship, but all these tiny little parts and stuff is really like kind of building a ship, to be honest with you. So yeah, so there you go. Again, beautiful detail in those bays. So I'm going to go ahead and start working on this this other side right here, and yeah, it should be the same as this one. Hopefully, again, the fit was absolutely perfect. So let me go ahead and do this one, and we'll go from there. Okay, the other side is on. A few little less parts on that side, I think, but no problem at all. This kind of pipe kind of just hangs in the middle of nowhere, but I think we've got some more stuff coming up at the instructions. I believe that is correct. So, again, looking pretty detailed and nice. So, this is the main gear base number 11, but then the instructions kind of get split up a little bit, because then you go on the pylons, then it looks like you have to put the intakes on, build the intakes, put the intakes on. Then once the intakes are on, we've got some more plumbing to go on page 14. So more stuff to go on once those intakes are added. And moving on to page 16, which is step 15. Kind of confusing. You again got more pipes and stuff to go on there later on. But in terms of the instructions, this is as far as we can go now without adding the intakes, I believe, according to the instructions. So yeah, looking pretty cool. I'm really liking how they look. So put this to the side. Now I'm going to go back through and work on the gear, which we're not going to do. We're not going to attach. We're just going to get built, ready to go. Put it to the side. So ready to go at the very end. Once it's all put together, we can add this. We'll paint it separately and weather it, all that kind of stuff. So going back to now page 5, which is section number 4. I'll start cutting these pieces off and working on the nose gear, which tons more pieces. As you can see there, very busy. We've got photos of the second page too, so really 2 pages of nose gear to work on. So let me put this to the side, cut these pieces out, and we'll get going on this bit. Okay, just finished the nose landing gear. Pages 5 and 6. See, 2 pages for landing gear. Now, I have to go back and count this. So this little piece of landing gear right here, 62 pieces. So I recently built this a couple of weeks ago, actually a week ago, threw this together. This is a Revell Jeep Wrangler, 24 scale. This little kit here. Guess some pieces are in this? About 85. So almost the same amount of pieces to build this whole kit right here is in this little bit of nose gear. So yeah, I mean, it's not everybody's thing, but I mean, if this floats your boat, it is what it is. The great thing about the hobby is you can build it as simply as possible, or you can go crazy and actually hand paint every single little component and whatever you want to do. So it's great how the hobby is diverse in that aspect. So built this, got it together. To be honest, I think I got some of it back to front, but I kind of bodged it and I think I got away with it. So the light lenses aren't on the front, obviously, because we've got to paint this up first and add the glass on later. But yeah, you see that detail. There were a couple of tiny little bits of photo etch, like minute. I didn't even bother adding. It's just you're not going to see it. So that's that. The wheels are separate. Glue the wheels together, 2 parts, and then the hubs. I'm just going to paint all these separately, and then we'll get the wheels on, obviously, once it's painted up. But yeah, the fit looks really good on these wheels too, with the hubcap. Like, looks perfect. So, pretty much follow the instructions. One thing to notice here, this guy, I'm not sure what you call it, I think it's like protect like the stones and stuff flying up into the wheels. This little bit here, it's basically 4 bits of photo etch with 2 tiny little bits of photo etch in between, which you kind of like posts. I mean, you kind of slot them on. So let me kind of tell you how high that wasn't going to work, because the little bit of photo etch posts are minute. It's so small. So if you have any kind of plastic rod, let me see. If you have any of like this stuff, I think it'll work really good. This is too big. This is 0.5 mil. It needs to be about 0.4 mil or 0.3 mil, I think, really. So this stuff would work really good to kind of feed it through. So what I did was actually have some lead wire. So I got this stuff, and this is 0.4, and this fit perfectly. So what I did was I just cut a couple of strips, like one. God, can I pick it up? It's so fiddly. So cut a couple of pieces off, and then what I did was I just threaded them through the 2 in the middle, and I just super glue in place and slip onto one of them. So one of the there's 4 bits that go across horizontally. So one of them, I basically put this lead wire through the hole, glued it so it wouldn't move, glued on both sides, one on each side. Then fed this one up through, and before I glued it, there's a little bracket on here, so I kind of slot them on the bracket. I mean, it's not perfect, but it looks not bad. So I slotted those 2 on the brackets, then glued the top and the bottom on, again feeding through the holes on this wire, and this is super easy to cut. So once it's all glued and set, with my sprue cutters, I just clipped it top and bottom, and super glued each end again, just to keep it intact, and that worked really good. Wasn't so fiddly. It was photo etch is pointless to use these kind of little brackets right here, but like I say, use a bit of Pastacard 0.4 mil or this lead wire worked really good too. And when lead wire actually kind of works good, kind of moves around a little bit, so you can manipulate it and stuff. So yeah, that worked really good actually. So that got me that part done. Not gonna lie, I had to walk for halfway through doing this nose gear. I had to walk away, take a break for a couple hours and come back. It was just getting too much for me. The fiddliness, all these tiny parts and stuff. But nevertheless, I pretty much got it done, I think. Like I say, a couple of pieces missed off, but I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I've already got 62 pieces on this thing, as it is, just this one little part. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this, prime it and paint it up. It's going to be dark ghost grey is what it's calling out for the colour of this. Paint these wheels up, get the wheels on, and then it's going to be a standalone. We can add on the very end. We can add the light lenses and that kind of stuff. So that's some nose landing gear done. Like I say, that's top tip using that 0.4 mil. And looking at the main gear, it doesn't look quite so bad. I mean, there's still sizable number, maybe 20 parts or so on each one, but it's not quite as bad as the as a nose gear. You also get you got the option here. You can do weighted or unweighted. Oh, I've got to zoom out a little bit. So you can do weighted wheels or unweighted. So you get the pick. I'll be going weighted, so I'll be using G22 and G21. If you want the G13 and G29. If you want unweighted, 21 and 22. I'm not sure why you'd have it unweighted, to be honest with you, because it's on wheels, it would be weighted. So I'm not sure why you have that option, unless I guess you're doing it like kind of in the air, coming down back to land on the deck or something like that. So yeah, so let me go ahead and get these ones built up too, and then I'll check back in. Okay, so done the left gear. Did lose a couple of parts of Carpet Monster, particularly sort of bracket that goes on the side here. But nevertheless, I mean, I come to the conclusion some of these parts are so small and tiny, I'm just wasting my time even looking at the Carpet Monster more than a few seconds. So yeah, is what it is. From a foot away, it's going to look more than good. From 3 foot away, it looked fantastic. Don't really care, to be honest with you, at this point. Glad this one's done. A little bit frustrating to kind of do these. I'm a little bit ambiguous where some of the parts go, but I kind of did the best guess I could. It's all going to go together fine. So that one's done. We'll do the right side. Kind of put all these on my Mr. Hobby crocodile clips ready for painting. All the wheels and stuff are ready to go. The hubs, this hub right here, it has 5 parts alone just on that one side of the wheel hub. Yeah, so that's all ready to go. So I got to do the right side, but I thought I'd just show you guys this real quick. So this fret is all beautifully molded, no flash, nice and crisp plastic. All this amazing detail, like we mentioned, there's what, 60, 70 parts in this one piece alone. But guess what? The fundamentals of modeling, making. This gear, same as the other side, 2 ejection pins. So you got one right there and one right here. You guys can see that. Take care of. There was one on the nose gear too, I think, but they're so round and smooth, I thought it was part of the design, so I didn't remove it. But by the time you had all the greeblies and stuff on, you don't really see it, so we're cool with that one. So I need to sand these 2 ejection pin marks down, but again, we've got this whole beautiful cut fret, and they put 2 on the gear right there, in places we have to kind of carefully sand away. So just thought I'd share that with you. So let me go ahead and, enough waffling, let me go ahead and get the other side built and get this primed and painted up. Hey, just come back real quick. Did the right side, went to get a little bit easier than the left, and I guess having done one already, it kind of wasn't so bad. Just point out this here. So again, section 10, page 11. This box right here, L53 and L54, that's a typo. It should be J53 and J54. So I just want to stop back real quick and just give you guys a heads up on this page right here. So another typo. I know we had one earlier on, and this one too. So again, section 10 should be J53 and J54, not L. Okay, so got these guys painted up, looking pretty good. So obviously got the main wheels, and looking nicely too with the weighted look. Nice chunky wheels. So they're done. The nose wheel. Now, this was a pain in the ass to get the wheels on behind the photo etch. I did it in the end. And we're going to talk about the colors in a minute. Also, these 3 spots where the lights go, I painted in silver. I love hand brushing the model air. It's an airbrush paint, but it just hand brushes so nicely. So I used aluminum for this case. Painted the 3 lights plus all the metal kind of struts. You see like there and on the main gear as well. Any metal parts were painted with this paint. The actual main gear, the hubs themselves, were actually click fit. I didn't use any glue, they just clicked in place, and they look pretty solid, so I didn't need any glue on those. Did glue the wheels onto the main gear assembly using Mod Podge, just regular Mod Podge. I kind of like using that now for it's PVA glue. I like using it for any painted parts. It just doesn't affect the paintwork or anything. So just gonna run through some paint. So you talk about silver. The wheel hubs in Russian jets nowadays are green, well they have been for a while. So I use flat green XF5. Don't really care so much about the shade. I think it's green's green, so went with that. The tires were painted with LP65, which is rubber black. They also do XF65, which is rubber black, the acrylic version. This is lacquer version. This is mixed 50-50 with lacquer thinners. Obviously painted the wheels separately, the tires, and then we had the hubs at the end, so we have to do no masking involved, which was kind of nice. The actual main gear themselves was put instructions were painted with dark ghost grey. I use MRP. This is 97. Do love this stuff. It's just super low, probably about 8, maybe 10 psi, even less maybe. You can just mist it on, and it just goes down the treat. Some colors aren't that great, the greens and certain other colors, but the grays for sure do go down very nicely. So painted all these guys up, looking good. We're obviously not done light lenses yet, because what I want to do now is I'm going to add the decals, which are quite a few. So I add the decals, then I'm going to give it a matte coat, which although the paint's kind of matte as it is, to be honest with you, but I'll give it a quick matte coat, just kind of, especially when I seal the tires in, so don't get chipped and stuff when we move it around. So I'll get a matte coat, decals, matte coat, and then at the very end I'll add the 3 light lenses on once we're done. So let me go ahead and start decaling and that kind of stuff, and I'll come back and then we'll be pretty much finished on this part. So yeah, just like last few jobs and finally a lot of work. I'm glad I got these done out of the way pretty quickly. But yeah, these guys are done. Once I've done those few, like I mentioned, the decals, flat coat, and the lenses. Okay, after many hours, these guys are done. I'm glad they're done. So again, a quick clear coat, matte XF86, the typical Tamiya. No problem at all. So redid that to seal the paint in so it doesn't chip the tires, that kind of stuff. So these guys are done. Added the lenses to the nose gear, which had a little bit of issue kind of sticking. So then in the end I just used extra thin. It kind of melted the paint, all kinds of problems, but it'll be okay in the end. So those guys are done, and that's it. So it's probably, I don't know, 120 parts or so there in terms of piece count. Ridiculous amount of parts, which could definitely be simplified, definitely over-engineered, and yeah, but nevertheless they're done, and I don't wish to do any of those ever again in my life. This once and done. So thank you for watching. Hope you stayed with me this long. As I mentioned last time, part number 1, there's no set frequency on these. Whenever I get a section done, I'll release it, whether it be a few days or a couple of weeks or a month, I don't know. So this bit's done with landing gear bays. Next time, I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. Most probably the intakes, I guess. And work on getting this main fuselage put together. But thanks as always, appreciate it. If you like what you see, please like, thumbs up, subscribe, all the usual stuff, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, have a great one, bye.